Yeah.
Hi, I'm Matt Mills, and I'm going to talk to you now about some bouldering and about how to use different types of handhold and also a few things about technique. Now, bouldering is very, very useful for training for climbing in that it's low-level climbing. If you fall off, you can land on the crash mats, so you tend to be able to do really hard moves that you wouldn't normally do on the walls, either because obviously the walls are longer or because you're not quite so happy about doing a hard move so far off the ground. So what I'll do to start off with is tell you about a few different types of handhold. Now this hold here is known as, that type of hold is known as a jug, because it's just like holding onto the rim of a jug or a bucket, and you can grab hold of it and feel safe. Okay? So a boulder problem using jugs, an example of that would be perhaps starting here, getting your feet somewhere, and then from there going to a jug up there, which you can use in your hand, and basically you can grab hold of these kind of holds and feel safe. You can hang on to them for quite a long time because you don't need particularly an awful lot of finger strength to use them. The next type of handhold I want to talk about is the crimp. Now a crimp, like this one here, basically you tend to only be able to use your fingertips on it. So for example, trying to hold on to that, all I can get on that are the first joints of my fingers. So you end up having to use a lot of finger strength to hold on to it. And then the move off a crimp is usually a little bit harder. Next, you've also got pockets. Pockets are holes in the rock. Sometimes they can be jugs, in the example of this one up here. And because you can get obviously 4 or 5 fingers in there and grab hold of it, feels safe. Other pockets you might only be able to get 3 or maybe 2 fingers in there, and also they tend to be also quite shallow sometimes. Okay? So for example, using these 2 pockets, obviously as you can see, I can only get sort of 3 fingers in there. I can only get the first joint of my fingers in there, so they're quite hard to hold. And that's where you can start increasing the intensity and difficulty of a boulder problem by using different types of handhold. Moving on a little bit, over here, you've got just the edge of the wall here, and that can be a hold. Sometimes they're called slopers, in that they're not concave, in that you can't get your hands behind them. They're convex, so that you have to use friction. And this is obviously what you use chalk for, but you also have to use a different type of hand strength. So if I was going to hold on to this, it would be I'd hold on to it quite open-handedly.
Cut that bit.
And obviously use quite a lot of friction. So anyway, so that's handholds. And just moving on swiftly. now I'm going to talk about a technique called smearing. Okay. Sometimes when you're on a wall, there aren't very many footholds. There might be plentiful handholds, but there aren't many footholds. And sometimes it's necessary to use the friction of your shoes against the wall. And this is called smearing. So for example, a boulder problem where I'd smear would be perhaps I'd have 2 good handholds, but no footholds. So if you zoom in on my foot activity there, John, you'll see that I'm just walking up the wall using friction. And if I can do that in trainers, you can certainly do that with rock shoes on. And it's just a good way of running your feet up the wall in between footholds. There are many other techniques which we will get onto shortly. But for now, I'm Matt Mills.